Now, over 70% of the African continent doesn't have access to electricity. That's a gap which, on paper at least, could be partially plugged by a combination of off-grid and on-grid solar power. Now, input prices for solar power have fallen so much that countries like Kenya have approved over 200 megawatts of grid-linked projects, with another 700 megawatts of generation capacity under consideration. Debt financing for such projects can be difficult to come by across Africa, and that's a gap the African Guarantee Fund is looking to fill. Now, at the Africa CEO Forum, CGTN's Ramah Nyang sought to find out how.
We've seen the price of inputs in solar power drop significantly over the last decade. We've also seen utility scale tariffs for solar power falling significantly over the last decade. Whilst is that over in Morocco, we're selling power to the grid at about, I believe it was 18 US cents per kilowatt hour. Kenya now is working on projects that are bringing power to the grid at about 12 US cents per kilowatt hour. The fact that solar power is now actually able to compete on price, does that make it a more attractive proposition for you to put guarantees behind it?
It makes it a way more attractive proposition. The reason being, now we can target, or actually a company who is involved in that type of business can now target residential customers. Because, as you mentioned, the price of the solar panels have decreased almost by 40% the last 2 years. So now that makes it interesting for individuals to say, look, shouldn't I go the solar way rather than going with the unreliable at times electricity provided by the main utility company. So it opens the market for the small SMEs, and because it opens the market, it creates additional financing needs.